It's usually helpful to start, especially with a group of people that are from all over, to talk a little bit about Piedmont Healthcare and who we are, give you a sense of how we fit into the folks that you're used to dealing with. So we are as of October 1st, we've only got a couple more weeks, we'll have 7 hospitals, about, 200 or so individual locations, about $2.5 billion in annual revenue, about 500 and 600 employed physicians, and another 1,000 plus in our clinically integrated network. We have 10 urgent cares. We are working on some retail clinics. We do all manner of stuff in Atlanta. And the funny thing is, when you think about scale of the healthcare industry, there are 4 systems in Atlanta that look like us. So $2.5 billion times 4, and that's just the major systems. It boggles the mind every single day to think about. Second question you might be asking yourself is, what in the hell is a chief consumer officer? Because I get that question more than I get who's Piedmont Healthcare. So in our system, it includes marketing and communications. It includes patient experience. It includes government relations, community benefit, and a whole manner of other things. But what it really is, more than anything, is a signal both to our organization and to others in our industry about what Piedmont cares about and puts at the center of its strategy. And that's the customer. And I say customer intentionally, and I get thrown at me all the time by physicians who want to argue about the definition of customer or patient. But until we start to recognize that these are people with choice and approach them as such, we're never going to get to the place that we need to be as an industry and certainly as a system, which is all I care about. Today, I hope to talk to you guys a little bit about our journey in healthcare consumerism, how we view our approach to the customer, how that's changed over time and where we're going as a system. Honestly, being close to a lot of my peers, there aren't many systems that look at it this way, but more and more do every day. And then this is, if there's a spectrum, we're on the far end and we're a little bit ahead. There are plenty of people who are lagging behind, but the bulk of people are starting to consider these things, and I'll touch on that in just a second. So everybody that you deal with from a health system perspective is going to get here at some point. So I'm obsessed with Star Wars. I'm just going to put that out there. Ellen and I, Sherry, we all looked at it and they're like, what's the deal with the Star Wars thing? So when we created this presentation, the first time I did it was right around the time that the Star Wars The Force Awakens came out, which was one of the more exciting days of my life. Behind birth, wedding. And I'll show you a picture in a second of these awesome pool noodle lightsabers that I made for my son's 4th birthday. And so the people who work with me in the marketing group, as we were putting this stuff together, they couldn't resist but to do this. And it was actually a surprise to me the first time I presented it. We like data. I hope you guys like data too, because there's a fair amount of it in here. What do you guys think the number one emotion felt during care consideration is? Just a couple of guesses. So you're a customer and you're thinking about healthcare. You're trying to decide what to do. What's the number one thing you're feeling? Bam! I wish I had a prize. Do I have anything handy? Do you like headphones? Okay, you got something. Yay, winner! It's confusion. There's my favorite picture of confusion in Star Wars, C-3PO. So confusion, this is what many healthcare consumers are going through every day as they're trying to sort through all of the information that is available to them and make a decision about what to do next. And 3 out of 5 are saying that they lack any real familiarity with their options. Information overload. So what do we need to do? And this is a mantra that we have at Piedmont, and I promise you, I'm going to talk about Piedmont as if it's some shining building on a hill over here, and everybody should come and visit us. We're trying, right? We're not the best. We haven't solved all the riddles, but we've committed ourselves to trying to fix it. And I think that alone is notable, even if we haven't gotten there yet. And so what do we need to do? We've got to make the complex easy. What every consumer business that is truly customer-centric and successful is good at doing is making the hard stuff look easy or feel easy to the consumer. So as Yoda would say, simplify we must. I would do a Yoda impression if I had a couple of drinks in me, but I don't. And I'm sorry I won't be here tonight because I'll be at a Kanye West show in Atlanta. But what they are, more than anything, are businesses that have changed the way they've operated and started to understand that experience enabled by technology is something that every consumer is starting to expect, and that we in healthcare have got to figure out how to provide that same degree of simplicity. So Great Clips, obviously not a customer. However, I've heard that you can check in online if you want to. But think about it, I always think about this in the urgent care context. There is absolutely zero reason why you shouldn't be able to have a map like this. It's got all of the Piedmont healthcare urgent cares, right? And with a little number that tells you how long the wait is, and a little button that says, save my spot. I have this argument with our urgent care people all the time because they don't want to turn that on. This functionality exists. I just want to turn it on. Oh, how do we operationalize it? If you cared what the customer thought, you wouldn't ask, how do we operationalize it? You would just do it. You'd figure it out. And that's an important tenet of where we're going is customer centricity and asking yourself every time, what does the customer want from us? Not what do we want from them. Every health system you know was built by doctors and administrators that built what was best for them. That's why all of your doctor's offices are on this crazy campus. It's crammed in the middle of the city. It's insane. It's like if Target went to Atlanta and said, we're going to build 5 stores. That's it. They're going to be huge. There'll be 5 million square foot stores, and that's where you have to go. And 100,000 people a day would go to this one place. It's crazy. And so building our system around what a customer wants is one of the core guiding principles that we're using from now on. Our CMO, the other CMO, my apologies, the Chief Medical Officer at Piedmont Healthcare, the second most important CMO in our system, makes an example all the time. He's got now, at this point, he's got 3 college-age children, or maybe some of them have just graduated. But 5 years ago, when I first got to Piedmont, he said, my kids have never stepped foot in a bank. They don't even know why those buildings exist. Because of this. I mean, think about the last time you went into a bank. I'm having a hard time remembering the last time I went into a bank. This is the only way that I interact with my bank at this point, which makes them happy, saves them money, they get richer, makes me happy. I get to go wherever I'm going. I can do it on the fly. I could do it in Philadelphia. My bank is in Atlanta. It doesn't matter. Everything works. So what's the analog in healthcare? Is it virtual visits, which is something that we do, where you can talk to a doctor anytime you want, wherever you are? There are lots of different opportunities for us to do something like this. The primary care physician, over time, the majority of your interaction should be electronic. Our CFO came to us from Kaiser, where he was their second in command in their finance group. And he said they're almost up to the point where 50% of their patient interactions is email. We got to get there. Zipcar. I mean, who would have considered, and I could have thrown up Uber because everybody loves Uber, but it's the same general principle, which is, what do you need a car? You don't even need a car anymore. And everything that you do, every interaction you have with this organization is technologically enabled. It's simple and easy. The process of creating this organization, to outfitting their cars, to all of the things, to the sort of deep technology that is required in order to provide this level of service is not simple, it's highly complex. But do you know about it? No. At all. And then finally, my number one example. So I live in Grant Park, which is a very old residential neighborhood just south of downtown Atlanta. It is a wildly liberal and hipster-ish neighborhood. We probably have 12 coffee shops that serve better coffee than Starbucks. And yet the Starbucks across my office gets every single penny that I spend on coffee. And they do it because I don't want to have to stand in line. I don't want to have to wait. Part of the problem with hipster coffee shops is they got to pour it over the thing and it takes forever to get your coffee. And I'm like, shit, guys, I just need to go to work. You know it's true. Every morning can't be Saturday morning where you can savor your damn coffee. You got to get to work. And so Atlanta's notorious for shitty traffic, so I will be sitting in the middle of traffic on my way to my office, and I'll just order my coffee, hit the button. It's ready when I show up. I walk in, I grab it, I walk out, I go to work. Again, that's not an easy thing to do. Think about the process and workflow that Starbucks had to fix and change. But why did they do it? Because their customers want it. And it's funny, you can see the ripples now. It's happening all over the industry. I don't know who lives in markets that have Chick-fil-A's. I know you do. So Atlanta is the home of Chick-fil-A, and while they do have their issues, which we won't need to go into right now, one thing they're very, very good at is making decisions about pretty much everything, experience particularly, around what they want the customer to feel, what they want that experience to feel like. But Chick-fil-A has copied this. So you download their app, you can do mobile ordering, you walk in, grab your bag, leave. It's only a matter of time before you can do this literally every single place that you want to buy something. And I'm sure you can do it at most. You can do it with your grocery stores now. If you have Instacart, it can come to you or you can go get it. It's just a matter of time. The hard part for healthcare in particular is that consumers, they actually expect this from us. They have a higher set of expectations. They think we should consistently meet or exceed their expectations as a customer, more than practically any other industry.